All right, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television and entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen. Another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the Dylan to John's Irving to Dave's Mark S. I will give you Mark S.
Thank you. Make sure you give that S in there. It's very important to
Yes.
differentiate myself from the other Marks out there.
Yes, of
Mark
course.
S, Dylan, the whole gang is here. Are the innies or the outies of us? Which one is this right now? Are we the outies? I guess it's outside of work hours, but this is a part of our job. Like we work on this. Like is this...
Yeah, I would say it's the innie because we're in the cyber world right now.
That could be it. That could be it. Well, we'll see if at the end of this podcast we remember any of this happening and when we get switched off. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Severance. We're going to talk all about season 1. We're going to talk about the finale. We'll spoil it, but not yet. So don't worry if you're worried about spoilers. We'll get there later on when we talk about Severance. But we got this first segment to go through first. It's supersized this week. And I don't remember what it is, John.
in and out points.
In oder out. In oder out. In, out.
Yes, it is in and out points. A lot to talk about tonight. A lot of them. Let's see here. Let's start off with a big news story. 11 months after the $43 billion mega deal was unveiled, Discovery and AT&T's Warner Media have officially closed on their merger. On Friday, it's official. They're creating a new media and entertainment giant titled Warner Brothers Discovery. All right. Kyle, what do you think? Warner Brothers Discovery, two big companies, they're becoming one even bigger company.
Yeah, to me, it's crazy to think that Discovery has that much clout that they can stand side by side with Warner Brothers, who's been around for years. I mean, I know Discovery has a whole list of channels, but reality television must be doing really well for Discovery. I don't know. I'm seeing like TLC, ID, all those crime. I mean, that must be their bread and butter because
Food Network, bread and butter. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's crazy to me that it's even in comparison to be able to stand along Warner Brothers. But it's just more stuff coming under one company. It's going to be like 2 or 3 media companies soon. I mean, we're already at that point basically anyways. Yeah. It's scary almost.
It is getting very scary. It's just, we joked on one, like there was like a preliminary talks, NBC, Universal, and like whatever. I can't remember what the other one was, but it was like 2 like networks that were talking about like combining, and we're like, well, that's how those are already the top competitors. How can, I think it was like maybe Fox, like the entertainment Fox channel. But, yeah. And you bring up this Discovery side of things. We'll get to some of the CEO changes in a bit, but it's like the CEO that's staying on is the Discovery CEO. Like, it's like, not only are they side by side, but somehow Discovery is like the top dog in this. They get the say, and that's just mind blowing to me. I just don't understand that Warner Brothers, such an, a classic company for years between the movies and then obviously with all the cable channels and HBO and all that stuff. Somehow it's you're still number 2, the little brother to Discovery.
Yeah, that is weird.
But they're planning on taking on the likes of Netflix and Disney in the streaming arena. They're betting on a broad portfolio of scripted and unscripted content. And the new CEO signaled that the new Warner Brothers Discovery is signaling to reach 200, 300, 400 million subscribers in the future, he said. To put things in perspective, Discovery has 22 million right now. HBO and HBO Max had nearly 74 million at the end of 2021. Netflix, on the other hand, ended 2021 with 222 million. And Disney Plus has 130 million. So they got a ways to catch up and to get to that 200, 300, 400 million subscribers that they want. But is it possible? Do you think they could, is this the big 3 right now? Netflix, Disney Plus, and Warner Brothers Discovery?
What are Hulu's numbers right now?
I think Hulu's days are numbered. I think Hulu's going to be
Yeah.
coming into Disney Plus very shortly.
Yeah, but I wonder with the influx to Disney Plus, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of one-sided on this. Like, I really like what HBO Max has to offer. So just based on their content alone, I would be like, yeah, I think it would be good to bet on them. But I think Netflix numbers are going to decrease. I don't, or stagnate. I don't think they're going to rise much if they rise. But like Kleenex, they're just going to stick around. You know, that they are the Kleenex of streaming services. So I don't know. It might be safe to say that they're the top three. I think just in content, I really like Warner Brothers, but I don't know if Discovery pushes them over the edge, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, it's not for me. I mean, I like some of that Food Network stuff here and there, but yeah, I love reality, but it's the competition shows like Survivor and Big Brother that you know, The Circle, those kind of things, not, you know, the House Hunter, whatever, you know, Chip and Joanna. I don't even know. Like, but to me, it's like, okay, you got more content on HBO Max. Like, that's the goal with this, to get more people signed up, more stuff there. But like, well, you're gonna charge more now? Because it's like, is that gonna get more people? Because it's like, oh, great, you put more stuff on to get more people there. But because there's so much more stuff there, financially, it would make sense to charge people, but then that would make people less likely to sign up. So it's like this back and forth. John, are you gonna? I mean, I'm assuming you have HBO Max. Are you using?
I don't know.
Would this sweeten the pie, you know, for other people, you think?
I feel like you gotta want something that's on there already. I don't think it's something that you're saying, oh yeah, it's cool, it's an add-on, I'll take it. I think it's more like, oh, I want to watch the Food Network, or I want to watch, you know, House Flippers or whatever. Let me get it. Is what I feel like it is. I don't feel like anyone's just saying like, yeah, it's a nice bonus, let me do it, you know?
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what the future is, like what shows that they're going to make now, because as I mentioned, the Discovery CEO, David Zaslav, is taking over. So it's like you have the unscripted guy taking over the home of of scripted content, you know, of Game of Thrones and that whole world of HBO Max shows. It's like, oh, this will be interesting. Like, will he have the right instincts? And you know, he's coming in. Jason Kylar, the old Warner Media CEO who did that Project Popcorn, where it was like all the movies, you know, in 2021 were there day and date in theaters. He's out because, again, Discovery is taking over. You know what else is also out? We have this beautiful logo here. This is the official logo, but about I think it was like 11 months ago when they announced this. Remember the old logo? Remember that one?
Yeah.
The clip art version that was made in Microsoft Paint. Yeah, that one's gone. Don't worry.
They
upgraded.
Yeah, I remember that. That was fun. That was funny.
Man, what are they doing with that? But all right.
And the one that we had previously, that's the one that they're gonna be rolling with now.
Yeah, it's a little sleeker. The dark blue. Simple. That's what you need.
Yeah. It's wild that Discovery is next to that name. It's just crazy.
All right. Well, we're talking about streaming services, some getting bigger, maybe more being created. There's a Nielsen report analyzing the state of streaming. Almost half of streaming users in the US feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of programming on streaming services, but also they have no plans on cutting back. It's like, there's a lot of stuff out there, but we're not cutting back on what we're watching. That's what this Nielsen report says. Sometimes these reports are like, no crap.
Yeah.
I could have told you this without the research.
I mean, somebody should do a study on, if you didn't know what you were planning on watching, choose something average time from looking to watching. What is the average time? And like maybe like a qualitative study on who's who's watching what or on what
Like how long it
streaming
makes
service.
to make a decision.
Yeah,
through all
or
this
or
stuff.
what made the decision? Like, oh, we just went with random finally, or something
Yeah.
like that. You know?
I think it took me over half an hour to figure out what I was going to watch when I didn't have something scheduled like in my mind to watch, and it ended up being the quick check that I'm going to do later. But
Oh.
I do people sit down and just be like, oh, it looks cool and put it on, or like is this a choice that everyone belabors over? Like, I don't know.
They have to put it in 3 or 4 different top 10
Yeah.
trending now,
Yeah.
popular on Netflix categories. Oh, it's in all these. I gotta watch it now. But
I gotta think it just triggers some like animalistic tendency where it's like, well, that could be better, and then you just keep scrolling. It's like, well, that could be better, and you just keep scrolling forever, man.
Sometimes I feel like, is that worth my time more than that could be better? You know what I mean? Like, do I really want to watch Is It Cake? Like, I don't think so. I don't think it's worth my time. I won't know till I watch it, but
and you won't know if
I could also
find out
flip
if it's
over.
cake or not. Yeah.
I can also flip over to
Yeah.
Big Heads, which it doesn't seem like it's worth my time either. So what do I, you know?
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, they crunched some numbers, and according to Nielsen, there are 817,000 unique program titles. That's like series, movies, specials available.
817,000.
Yep, available on streaming services. So there could be more titles out there, but these are the ones that are available right now to watch. That's a 26.5% increase since the end of 2019. And I always wonder with these streaming service, it's like, have they dug themselves in such a hole that the only way to compete is more? Like Netflix, it's like you're at this thing where 1,000 new shows are coming out. It's like, well, we're stagnant with our numbers. We got to do more shows. It's like, how can we possibly do more? But then like a year from now, it's like, well, we're stagnant with our numbers. We just did 50% more new shows. Well, do more. It's like, when is this well gonna dry out?
Yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, with things like Is It Cake, we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. Some later in and out points of movies, we're getting there. But 93% of survey participants here said they plan to keep the paid streaming services they have now, or add more in the next year. 93%. Yeah.
How can you not add more? Like, everyone's coming out with a big flagship show that if you don't see, you're out. You know, like that's what kind of stinks. They need to cut back on all the cake episodes and start just really sinking their teeth into. I mean, you don't know what's going to be a hit beforehand, but you know what I mean. Like, I feel like we can
quality over quantity,
assign some sort of value for, is this a piece of cake versus Stranger Things and where they're going to fall in the popularity, but who knows?
But then it goes back to what Dave was talking about, because they need a certain amount of content on the site for you to justify paying whatever the amount that they deem okay. You know what I mean? They just keep
prices keep going up and up and up.
And I don't know what the server costs of something like that is, and all that stuff. So
you look at something like YouTube, where they get 400 minutes worth of video uploaded every minute or something, and they're just sunken cost at this point. I think Google's keeping them alive, like even with all the ads they run and all that. So
wow,
yeah, I can understand that they would want to add more to get more people to subscribe, but at the same time, like, yeah, there's a careful balance between hardware and all that. And I mean, you can remember during the pandemic, we talked about them throttling back on their quality to try and temper the world's internet, like so there's definitely a balance and a payoff and all that and in there. So who knows?
Yeah, and in this survey, they saw that the number of people who subscribe to 4 or more streaming services has doubled in the past 3 years. And I see this number and I see all these like streaming services, and I'll be honest, in the last like a week or two, I've been thinking about cutting back.
Yeah,
like, I gotta like just subscribe to what I need now. It's like, these 2 or 3 shows, or because it's like every streaming service has, like one show that I'm like into right now.
Yeah.
But like I could wait a month or 2 and then I can get it the service for 1 month, watch all the shows I want, cancel it, watch the next service, just keep like HBO Max and like, whatever, Netflix, and
You got to do a
jump
rotation,
between the
dude.
rest. Yeah.
It's HBO Max month this month. Next month is
Yeah.
Hulu, then Google TV, then
Yeah. Yeah.
I might have to because things are just going up more and more. And then I look at it, it's like, oh, I only use this like once this month, or for one show this quarter. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but
and I'm trying to do that with this Halo series. I don't even know if it's worth checking out, but I'm like, I don't want to get a whole thing of Paramount Plus,
yeah, you can wait and watch The Offer, the Godfather series, and watch that and Halo at the same month.
There's one, I think, trump card that some of these networks are going to try and use, and that's live sports. So Paramount Plus is already with CBS having some like sporting events on there. I would imagine between Disney Plus and Hulu with ESPN.
Amazon wasn't it?
Amazon is in the football situation because they know that those are the prime viewers where you're gonna have people actually sitting in there where the ads are
and it has to be live. It has to be live.
And it has to be live, yeah.
And people will pay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. The last little stat they have is nearly 2/3 said they'd be interested in a bundle service that allows access to several different platforms, provided they could choose which ones. This is where I laughed because I'm like, well, yeah, in a perfect world, that sounds great. I would love to bundle the 4 services I watch, but that's not going to happen. You're not going to, can we bundle HBO Max, Netflix, and Disney Plus? No, because these are 3 different competing companies.
Yeah, I know. To the average person, that doesn't make sense. Like they want cable. They don't know. Yeah, they don't know how this works. So they're just like, I just want my shows.
But yeah. Oh man, so many streaming services, so many shows. We mentioned the Warner Media Discovery deal and the possibility of more unscripted content. Well, let's see. Back in March, the MGM and Amazon deal went through, which means we're getting a reality show starring James Bond, called 007's Road to a Million. All right.
Oh, God.
Who's excited for the Amazon James Bond reality show?
Can talk about, when you make something a reality show, it loses a lot of mystery. And Bond works on mystery.
He's the man of mystery.
So, I don't know if this is a good idea.
Yeah, especially because I feel like the Bond producers, I mean, the Broccoli family, they're so protective of Bond.
Yeah.
Like it's, there's no spin-offs of Bond. It's like, it's the theatrical movie experience. That's it. Oh, you want to sell this? Like Apple TV was in talks to buy, the No Time to Die, but they're like, nope, unless it's $1 billion or whatever crazy amount they said, you're not getting this Bond movie. It's going to theaters. So they're so protective of it. Obviously now with the MGM Amazon deal, they might have some shaky legal ground now in the Broccoli family, because it's like, what rights do they fully have? Like, is it full ownership? I don't know. I mean, here we go with a reality show, but I can describe the show a little bit, see if it makes it any more interesting. It's going to be an 8-part series. It's going to begin production this year, and it will see contestants competing in a global adventure for £1 million. It's filmed in many of the historical locations featured throughout the Bond films, and the cinematic format will be a test of intelligence and endurance. In addition to passing physical obstacles, the contestants who will compete in 2-person teams must correctly answer questions hidden in different locations around the world in order to advance to the next challenge.
So it's like The Amazing Race, but Bond version.
That's literally my next note. It's Amazing Race with the Bond label.
But is it like worse? Is there like certain James Bond things that you have to hit on this woman and practically sexually harass her, like in this segment?
I was just gonna say, like, it's a bartending challenge. You have to make a martini, shaken, not stirred. Probably. Yeah. But yeah, you bring up a point where it's like Bond is known for like cars, guns, sex. It's like, we gonna do this in this show? It sounds like
I
we're gonna
know.
do trivia questions and obstacle
Yeah.
courses. Like, I don't know. Like it's literally at this point, every show and movie just has to be based on an IP, based on a name. Like,
if it's Amazing Race with trivia and they just happen to have Bond as the overarching theme, that seems pretty tame use of license.
Yeah, but because I'm seeing in this Variety article here, so sources told Variety that the project had been in the works at Prime Video for around 4 years. That's long before the $8.5 billion MGM deal was finalized. So it's like, okay, well, they probably had some Amazing Race show that they were doing. Let's just cross out the title and put in Bond, and all right, it's a new show.
Yeah,
it's hip. But
is Bezos going to be the villain?
No comment. No comment. I got some packages coming in the next week. I gotta make
All
sure
right.
that they
Tell me next week then.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this Bond will go to space. Maybe that'll be one of the challenges.
Maybe.
Maybe. But all right.
Moonraker 2.
Yeah. We have a segment or another story next, John. That it's becoming a weekly thing that we may need a header at some point. Just get ready. I'm putting that out there. An NFT header because filmmaker Kevin Smith has partnered with Secret Networks Legendo to launch NFTs of their horror anthology Kilroy Was Here. This film will be the first in history released in this format, expanding the possibilities of what NFTs can provide. So this movie, Kilroy Was Here, will be the first film released as an NFT.
The only thing I can think of, and this is so funny, in that we've had the first in and out point and then this in and out point, is the dichotomy between we need to have so much content for everyone for like, $15. And then we have other people that are using content is like, there's so much content out there now. I made this NFT and it's just for you. Pay me a ton of money. It's just such a weird thing. It's like, oh, I've got this exclusive content. Look at this exclusive content over here. I've minted it for you. Whatever the frick that means.
Yeah, I don't know. Was the first one of this kind, like when that Martin Shkreli got that Wu-Tang
that's what I was going to ask about. Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're the only one that has it. And then that was the original But the movie itself, along with exclusive content from the film, behind the scenes footage, and a commentary track, will be launched as a 5,555 piece generative art NFT collection on Secret Network's primary NFT minting platform. So I guess there's an NFT of the movie, there's an NFT of the behind the scenes footage, there's NFT of the commentary.
I thought you were going to own an NFT of 5,555th of the movie, where you get to play like 6 frames and then that's it.
Maybe. It's just, oh my, I hate this so much. I hate NFTs.
No,
I'm the old man yelling at cloud. It's dumb.
Well, it just sounds like the DVD and the DVD extras.
Yeah.
But now you're paying a heavy price for it, and then the content could stink. But hey, you got the only one.
And you can sell it. Ooh.
Yeah. And here's his statement from Kevin Smith. When you buy the Kilroy NFT, you get exclusive access to the movie. But more importantly, the specific version of Kilroy you get is your Kilroy to do with whatever you want. You can make your own movie, turn it into a cartoon, license him for lunchboxes. We started the story. Now you get to continue it with your very own version of our character. And along with a brand new chapter I'll shoot next year, the shorts and animation that the Kilroy NFT owners create with their own Kilroys will make up the bulk of our sequel anthology. The Kilroy NFT offers an exciting and unique opportunity to go from art collector to collaborating artist. So pretty much not only are you paying for a piece of this, but then whatever you make will then be sold in his sequel. So he probably will make money off of your work that you
Mhm.
based off of his work.
Dude,
This is a pyramid, right? It's a
yeah,
pyramid scheme.
NFTs just seem like a con artist's wet
Yeah.
dream, man.
Oh,
It's just
100%. 100%.
it just seems like too many ways for people to like was it Billy McFarland? Is that the
Firefest,
yeah, it sounds like way too many opportunities for guys like that to do what they do,
Yeah.
it sounds like a dangerous game. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be playing in it, but who knows?
Yeah, and I like the idea of like, a collaboration with, tons of outsourcing it. Like I think like Joseph Gordon-Levitt does a lot of this with Hit Record Joe, where it's like, he maybe do a prompt and then people could send in their animation and this and that, but it's a very collaborative, art making process. This just doesn't seem like it's that. It just seems like, okay, buy this from me, make something, and then give it back to me, which I will possibly sell and make that an NFT of an NFT. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't sit right, at least at first glance.
Yeah.
But all right. Let's see. I have one last one to talk about here. Breaking news today. We got movies based on toys like the Play-Doh movie and Transformers and the upcoming Barbie film. But what about the actual physical store? Spirit Halloween, the iconic costume and prop store with about 1,400 locations across North America, has teamed with Strike Back Studios, Hideout Pictures, and Particular Crowd for a feature-length family movie called, you guessed it, Spirit Halloween.
They really will make films about anything with any kind of IP, right?
Anything. Spirit Halloween is the latest.
Good for Spirit Halloween that they've managed to
trick somebody into doing this.
Yeah.
This is a con.
Yeah, but they basically managed to get their batch of strip mall money together to pitch some Hollywood execs about this.
They come into these vacant stores, for 3 months. They set up shop. They take our money and then they go back, into hiding
guess
for
what?
a year.
There's so many stories along the way. Let me tell you
locations.
about them for this Netflix special.
Each one is an NFT.
Yeah.
I think we gotta stop what we're doing right now and go to Netflix and pitch, guys. Here's another movie idea. Panera, the movie. Chipotle Strikes Back. Just like, I don't even know, like whatever. Jiffy Lube.
Oh man.
What are we doing? Oh my God. So Spirit Halloween, it's going to be a family kids adventure, and the film will star Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future, John. There you go. And Rachel Lee Cook. Those are our two stars, plus a bunch of new kids joining.
But this image that we have on Twitch right now could not sum up Spirit Halloween more. It's a tarp of a banner.
Yep.
Still like stapled to the side of the building.
Yep.
That's not
it's
a banner.
It's a circus that comes in, sets up shop, real quick, and then leaves. It's not a permanent fixture that we've come to love, but
pass the savings on to you.
Oh my God. But here's the plot. Here's the plot. When a new Spirit Halloween store appears in a deserted strip mall, 3 middle school friends who think they've outgrown trick-or-treating make a dare to spend the night locked inside the store Halloween night. But they soon find out that the store is haunted by an angry evil spirit who has possessed the creepy animatronic characters. The kids embark on a thrilling and spooky adventure in order to survive the night and avoid being possessed themselves. So it's night at the museum, but it's in a retail store.
I was figuring it was going to be something along those lines. I think the real horror of this movie should be anybody who stands in line for an $80 costume. That is the horror movie, really, in this Spirit Halloween.
And I feel like, I could be wrong. It's been forever since I've been in Spirit Halloween, but I feel like, aren't they like a lot of knockoff like costumes? It's not like Harry Potter. It's like Wizard Boy, And it's like, are they gonna have like
I don't know.
the like licensed characters?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, or is it gonna just be like these knockoff, like,
I feel like they
you
should lean
know?
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
lean into the parody like fake costumes and just make them funny. Like why
Yeah,
not?
They could.
You got the entire movie. You could do whatever you want with. Why not have fun with it?
Yeah. That logo of whatever the Grim Reaper, whatever it is for Spirit Halloween, that's our big bad, right? That has to be like the movie. I feel like writes itself.
Yeah.
Like that has to be the creature of the movie.
It's like Night at the Museum. It's sausage party. It's in the box. We're gonna see what happens.
And then who knows? It's gonna be, instead of like the MCU, like a cinematic universe, it's whatever's in the mall will be the next cinematic universe. Oh, Spirit Halloween,
the Christmas store,
Cinnabon movie, in the Christmas store, and it's just like all these, and then they'll team up for the Avengers of
the Cinnabon will be the Better Call Saul.
the movie,
yeah.
But don't worry, guys. Spirit Halloween filming is already wrapped, and it's aiming for an October 2022 release.
Wow, I thought this was just like a pitch. I didn't realize they actually filmed it already.
It's filmed. It's done. It's in the cam, ready to go.
Wow. All right.
Is it a Spirit Halloween promo? Like, is that how quickly it got done? How did this happen?
I guess so. Yeah. I can't wait to not watch this movie. But
what genius marketing! They're gonna have this thing come out around Halloween, and everyone's gonna lose their mind and then buy from their stores.
And then they're going to be able to make costumes from this film and sell it in their Spirit Halloween store.
Yeah.
So when this is the big movie of the Halloween season, people will go as these costumes for Halloween.
Yeah.
Knockoffs of their own costumes. Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect.
For Wizard Boy.
All right. Well, we have one main show to talk about tonight. In order to talk about it, we have to go back. So guys, send us back.
Back in time.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
All right, Severance. We're talking about season 1. Everything from season 1, including the finale, the We Are. The finale aired on April 8th, and the premiere was back, I believe, in February. And we talked about it quickly in a quick check. But we're really going to dive into this, and again, we're gonna spoil it because we're gonna talk about the season. We're gonna talk about the finale. So if you don't want spoilers, jump around, get out of this segment, and come back to it later. But Severance is about a biotech corporation that uses a severance medical procedure that separates the non-work memories of some of their employees from their work memories. And one severed employee, Mark S., gradually uncovers the web of conspiracy from both sides of this division. And I want to start off with John, because when we did our quick check, Kyle and I, John hadn't seen Severance yet. And in this last week, he has binged all of season 1. So I got to ask you, what did you think of this show in general?
I really enjoyed it. This is definitely one of those shows where they throw a lot at you. Some of it is funny one-offs that disappear right away. Some of it is really key critical information that you kind of got to remember. And some of it is both, where you think it's just something to throw away, and then all of a sudden later you're like, wait a second. And I think they've not boiled it down, but they've gotten that down pretty well. There's a lot of things that they throw that in there, and you have to try and figure out if that's meaningful or not, or maybe it won't be meaningful for a few episodes, or, so I really like that aspect of it. I generally like this kind of format where it's, a tone shift or some like a forward and back in time or whatever, and this isn't that, but it's the two parallels, I guess, that don't meet, and I really enjoy that and how it falls apart, I guess, in the end and all that. So I really enjoyed this, and I didn't like where the season ended, only because how can they do this? I want more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a really deep cliffhanger, and I'm not happy that we're stuck here, but it'll just make the next season all that much better, I think. So that's my 30-second thoughts on it.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. We'll talk general about the show first, and then we'll really dive into the finale. But I think when we talked about it in the quick check, we mentioned how, like, this show is very stylized. I think I compared it to like Black Mirror and Mr. Robot, of just the look, the production design, the music. It's very specific to this world. The cinematography, when they're winding through these white hallways, it's a maze, and sometimes they change up the direction while you're watching it, and they surprise you with the orientation of where they're coming in and where the characters are going, just in this white void. And it's just, I think the whole world that they set up with like with their little office, and like it just seems like so well thought out, that they thought about every little detail with just the look and the colors. And it's just, it just is, I just think, not great podcasting, but just well done. Like, I don't know what else, more to say positively about it.
I had
I do.
a thought on the cinematography, and I don't know. I only thought of this after I finished watching this, so I could be wrong. But did they change, like, I don't want to say camera lens, not camera lenses, but you know what I mean? Like, was all the stuff indoors in the company filmed very differently than the outdoor stuff? And I know when they swap between them, they have that classic like the dolly,
dolly zoom,
and I wonder if they, and I didn't think of this until afterward. Did they carry that kind of extremes out inside and outside, where the shots were framed open or closed? You know what I mean? I'm trying to think. I feel like they did that, but I don't know if they did.
It's possible. I mean, just by like looking at like this picture, I know they definitely changed up with lighting and colors, where it's like, inside it's so bright and like that fluorescent color, but then at home it's maybe a little bit more warmer and it's dark. And I will say, I was listening to a podcast earlier today about this, and I think for the most part, the episodes we saw before the finale, the camera was very stationary, and it would move occasionally, but it was like locked down, and then it would have these purposeful moves. But supposedly in the final episode, the camera was more handheld, and it was supposed to make that like kind of uneasy, tense feel. So it's quite possible what you're saying, John, with the lenses. There was also possibly a change in that. Anything positive you want to add on to Kyle?
No, nothing more than what you guys said, except maybe it's one of the best intros I've seen to a show. It's really cool with that. And just, I'll piggyback off of everything that you said. It's just really, really well done. Even some of the characters that I didn't initially like, I came back to, and I enjoyed them. So, there's a lot going on. There's always some kind of mystery, edge of your seat action. And I would say, like John, towards the end, I was hoping for a little bit more. But it's crazy with all that's happening. It's like you do get a lot of information, but then it's like it just opens up more of these avenues, and you're never fully satisfied. You just hope at some point we get there,
Yeah, I had John pull up the intro credits here, because there's a little bit of a Parks and Rec possible connection here. Somebody saw on Twitter where, Ben, Adam Scott's character, spent a lot of time doing this stop motion little claymation doll, and that doll looks very similar to the doll that's in the opening credits, and it has like the stop motion feel. And there's another line that I think it was I saw actor Josh Molina post on Twitter. It's a video, it's a short clip, but we'll throw to that clip. He predicted something 7 years before Severance.
Look, now that we're working together again, maybe it would be good to keep our home life and our work life separate.
So obviously it's a pull, but I think it's a pretty funny connection there with Adam Scott and Ben Wyatt and Mark S. But you hinted on this a little bit, Kyle, with so much kind of mystery and things that they're setting up. And that's my one worry with this show, is I'm worried for future seasons if we can maintain the mysteries, because early Lost is fun, but then late Lost, it's when we got to it's like it was tedious. A little hard, because they had to pay off all the things that they set up.
Yeah.
And we all have our favorite theories now. and then maybe a year or two from now, when we get the answers, we may not like the answers, and then we'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, this sucks. And so I'm hoping, everything is there for a certain reason, and the answers we're gonna like, because I think I saw that the creator, when he wrote this show, he just submitted it as a writing sample for Ben Stiller's company. So I don't know how well thought of, this
Yeah.
world was before he submitted, and how much time they spent really planning season 1 versus the series. Because the opening credits, there's a lot of things that we see in season 1, but I'm like, what else is there? I mean, there's a lot of questions which we'll get into. I can run through them now, but I'm always worried about setting up the mystery and paying them off. But, yeah, like I'll run through some of the questions here. We learned a lot about Lumen in the last episode, but mainly like going back to Lost, what are the numbers for? Like, what are they actually doing with those numbers, putting them into boxes? What are they sorting? And then there's goats inside as well. Like, what's...
You want my numbers theory?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. I think this whole program is made to be able to control people, and the numbers are the company trying to see just how far people, like how obedient they are, and how they're sorting things, and maybe there's some sort of patterns in there that they're trying to make them recognize to see how they react to certain situations. But I think the numbers are just bogus, that they're observing them to see how obedient they are, and how they're taking this severance long term, and how the effects of always working, even though your body doesn't get tired because you still go home and work, but you're mentally how well you do, and how that's gonna cascade your emotional, and maybe that ties into how this season is ending, with them kind of going a little stir crazy and trying to break out. I don't know, but that's kind of my thought on it, is that it's just garbage. It's just nothing, just to make them do something. I mean, obviously it looks like it takes place in a modern time. They have cell phones not in here. Everything looks, all nice and modern, but they're on these ancient computers that have no access to outside, just whatever servers running these number simulations. I don't know. That's my kind of thought, is that it just is there to make them do something and make them think they're doing something important.
Yeah. But it isn't, I mean, I think Irving had it happen twice, and I think Mark S had it happen once, where the numbers corresponded to some kind of fear that they visually experienced, or at least in their mind's eye they experienced, right? Because Irving had like black goop coming from the ceiling,
which we think is like the black paint later on. Like,
I think that's supposed to be him falling asleep and having a nightmare, because we see later that when he gets home from work, he's like downing coffee to try and stay awake, and he talks several times about him falling asleep at his desk. So I think that's the nightmare that he's having, and I think that his Audi is also having nightmares about the hallway, which is why he's painting the hallway. I think they're kind of that mental link is kind of breaking, or that mental separation is kind of breaking down, and they're bleeding into each other. Is my thought.
Okay, that's true. That's fair. Yeah,
and I definitely agree with you, John, with the numbers probably not meaning anything, and it's like literally they make what they want out of those numbers, and they just see what they want to see. And they're being watched on these computers, by Miss Cobell and all the people in there. So it's like, is it all just like a psychological experiment? This whole severance thing, is this just like a test? They're watching them when they're working, because it's like, why is Miss Cobell is also Mark's neighbor? Like, that's an odd coincidence. And then, there's a lot of like connections with different people that are specifically with Mark, because, one of the big twists of the season is Mark's wife, the one he's trying to run away from, the idea of her death, to forget about that, is why he did this whole severance program. Well, his wife is in Lumen, is there working as kind of his counselor therapist there. It's like, well, unless she somehow works at the same time as he did, like, it doesn't make sense. So it's like they must have put her into this world, because also how? Because she's dead. But
wouldn't she need an Audi?
You want more crazy ideas?
Like, I don't. Well, I'll just say mine real quick, and then I'll hear
Yeah.
yours, because it's like, I would think Mark and his family would have to have some kind of funeral. I mean, they love her so
Mhm.
much, they would have to see something here. And did Lumen somehow like take her as like a for scientific research, like the organ donor type experiment thing? But like, I don't know, because does she go anywhere? Is this just her conscious? Like, like, is her she was
Or did
forced
they just
retired? Like, I don't know. Like,
or did they just create like a clone of her and
yeah,
input like some kind of
I don't
like
know.
brain data or something, inside of her? I don't know.
Yeah, there's something there. John, what do you think?
This kind of ties in with Cobell. I think that it seems like the founders of this company have a farther reach than just this company. Because if you look at all the restaurants they went to, were all named after founders. All the restaurants in the entire show so far, and it seems like the area around this is all in there. I saw somebody point out that the mailing address was a fictional state, so who knows? Like maybe they have more control. Who knows? But I think that with Cobell getting upset at the end of the episode and tearing down her shrine, and we see that respirator hose or whatever with a family member's name on it, I think that they were doing experiments on people to see to what degree that the severance takes place. And I wonder if she was in a coma and they pronounced her dead, but they took the body and severance the body, and she's in a coma when she's her outie, in that the people live here from the little map. There was a little thing on the map that said people live here. But when she's an innie, she's still awake because it's separate. And I think that kind of, I think Cobell's trying to uncover. I think Cobell's kind of a rogue agent in it all, trying to uncover more of what happened to her family, or try and figure out how to pin the death, which could be the same death that the other guy's investigating, the guy who keeps falling asleep, whose name is escaping me. So I don't know. There's kind of like a breadcrumb trail that you can maybe put things together, but who knows, because we don't have enough info.
And I don't. There was the episode where they see the goats, where Helly and Mark S see the goats. She's down there as well, and she like throws off like a one-line comment like, "Oh, are you guys okay?" Like, basically, you should be kind of afraid to be down there, is what it sounded like. And then they walked together, and it was just like a one-off like line comment, but it was like, what is really happening down there? Everything's dark. Is it this company that has a bunch of different things going on? Severance is one thing. The building of the goats is another thing. Whatever this, Irving's love interest there, Christopher Walken's, section does,
Yeah, because they're keeping the departments like separate. And they're telling them different like paintings, like, you see this conflict. It's like you tortured them. It's like, no, actually they tortured you. And it's just like, it's like, so it's like, yeah, again, it goes back to that psychological experiment idea. But you bring up, we're jumping around a lot, but like with the wife being, in this world, and I thought coma at first too, but maybe that was just at the beginning, because I feel like I'm pretty sure like they've said like she's dead, like throughout the whole series. So I thought like if Mark and the family are, trying to move on from this, like she's dead, like she's gone. So that's why maybe at first she was in the coma, but like I feel like, and then I don't know what that means when they like forced her into retirement, at that one point, like,
but like,
where is she now? And like,
you could easily tell someone that they're dead, and then
but I just feel like, Mark, especially how beat up he was about it. It's like you would
but if he
see the
believes
body
she's
here,
dead,
like you get the death certificate, unless it's like Lewin really owns, like, yeah, like they might government and police to fake all these titles and certificates and stuff like that, because you bring up the idea of testing, and that kind of goes into like the idea like there's a woman that Mark's sister meets that goes through a pregnancy, and she doesn't seem like to remember that whole situation. So it's like, well, was she severed like during that thing, like instead of just being like separating work and life memories, is it like you're separating the pregnancy in this, so then maybe you won't have to experience the pain or the whole
Seems like
ordeal
yeah,
of
it's heavily
that. So it's like,
implied that yeah.
so it's like there's a lot going on here, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I
And there's also, sorry, just going back to the whole company in general with Kier, with like whatever Kier, it's also got like this cultish,
Yeah.
religious like overtone to it. It's kind of strange. It's weird.
Yeah. And I will say before we move on to the finale specifically, I want to talk about, our characters here. I think I really like the core four, our four workers in data refinement there. I will say I find Tremil Tillman, who plays Milchick, as a scene stealer. It's such a
For sure.
specific character he created, yet it's so fun, but also so creepy. That whole sequence of him dancing around
Yeah.
for the whatever it was, the waffle party or whatever it
Yeah.
was. It was just it was so good. I thought the whole scene was good. On the flip side, though, there's points I will admit I find Patricia Arquette a bit over the top. Really hitting the walls,
Yeah.
screaming. She's fired, but yet she still wants to support Lumen. Like, does she want her job back? Like, there's a lot of like acting choices that she makes that pulls me out of it. I'm like, oh, I see you're acting here, and it's just
Yeah.
yeah. So there's pros and cons. There's some that I think are doing great, and then other times I'm like, you're not working for me. But
I initially hated the guy who plays Dylan, but he grew on me
Same.
as the series went
Yeah.
on. I did enjoy.
Complete 180 in my opinion.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
I
I can
really
see
enjoy
that.
his character now. And earlier I was like, oh come on, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yep.
So when we get to the finale, we get a bit less of Dylan, and we get to know a lot more about our other three, because we find out that they can be woken up outside. The innies can become the outies, and we learn a lot, especially about Helly. But we're gonna go through the characters. We're gonna start off with Mark S. And he wakes up in front of Miss Cobell, thinks his sister is his wife. There's a build up to see, at some point he's gonna see the brother-in-law, who's the author of his
I know,
favorite book,
which is
on the
hilarious
inside.
to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like he's a god on the
You know?
outside.
And he's like talking him up. I loved it. You changed my life. He's like, all right, enough, stop. But no, really, you did. But it's like you're just dying. Like this whole episode, you're stressed because you
Yeah.
know the ticking clock of this mission. You got 3 of them going on. You're jumping back and forth, and this whole time you're just like, let him see his wife. Let him see a picture of his wife the whole time for Mark S. And he finally does, and he gets in one last word before the switch is switched. And of course, that's when the episode ends. But she's alive. She's alive, guys. What a way to end an episode.
Are they gonna know what he's talking about?
I'm
Hopefully he
hoping,
took the
like, I didn't
picture
see
with
his
him.
hand. I'm hoping it's like in his
Yeah.
hand or something, or like
Yeah.
who's alive. It's like, this, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
but, yeah, like,
Wild. Yeah, it was a wild last line. Cliffhanger.
What they should have done, or any of these people should have done, I know it's a TV show and it wouldn't have been great TV, but like they needed all their innies when they're on the outside world to just start writing, being like, this
Yeah.
is so and so. I know this person. I
Yeah.
know this thing. I know this. I know this. I know this. I know this. And then you wake up, you're like, what the hell is this? And
Yeah.
but and again, that wouldn't be, that'd be too easy for a mystery TV show. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll have
But
to see where that goes. Yeah,
he, I mean, there was so many wild moments in the finale, that edge of the seat moments, like when he calls Cobell,
Yeah.
Miss Cobell rather
Yeah.
than Mrs. Solvig. I was like, oh my god, the baby's lost. All these moments, man.
Yeah, that was the moment where I'm like, oh, that was the wrong name. That was the wrong name. And
Yeah.
I will say it's interesting that, like, I'm not sure like why the employees of Lumen get like fake names, but all the workers get their real names. It's like an interesting choice. I know it's, it worked out really well in this scene for like good drama, but it's like, it is like interesting. Yeah. Like, yeah, couldn't Miss Cobell just be Miss Cobell on the outside? Because the people on the inside won't know that's her
Yeah.
on the outside.
Yeah,
And the
that's true.
people who are working there know who she is and can see her on the outside. So it's like,
I still think they're trying to control variables to test what that link between the two. You know what I mean? So if they know who they are on the outside and the inside, maybe that reinforces some, synapse bond between the two, or some, who knows? I think they're trying to keep it, although, facial recognition and all that, but I feel like they're trying to keep the two separate.
Yeah, possible. But she runs back to Lumen, is calling. They know, they're out there, and it's like, I was surprised first she was even allowed in the building after being fired that day.
Let her
but
car just roll away.
but it was interesting because I really thought at the beginning of the episode she whispers something into Mark's ear, like, get out of there, and it was almost like I thought season 2 could have been the 4 of them in Cobell versus Lumen, but it seems like by the end of this episode, nope, she's still a company worker here trying to get her job back probably, but it's just it was like a choice to make us think that she might be on their side, but then at the end it's like no, she doesn't want that. But
yeah, I know it's a weird one too, after how corporate or whatever looks at her or views her. I don't think they like her that much, so it's just weird, this fascination she has and where she fits in all this, because her role is still kind of a weird one,
Yeah.
So it's like, where is she on the totem pole, kind of?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely an expansion in season 2 and 3. We're gonna find out more about the board, and because how many departments are there in this? That we've only seen such a small, really only 2 departments in this entire building. But we found out somebody who's in high up in the executives, Helly R is we wondered all season why, even after this suicide that her innie committed, why her outie would even want her still in there. Well, daughter of the CEO. So it's like, well, it's like she's and I guess she's in there to try to make this whole severance thing more accepted. See, it's normal. It's I did it, and we get this speech she's delivering, and she's trying to say the truth before she gets switched back off. And I wonder how season 2 is going to start, because I could easily see them kind of negating this somehow, of just because they're all laughing at first. It's just no, that we're trapped. That's what you think my innie would say, but no, this is really, we're trapped. And it's like,
yeah, but she would know what her innie would say.
Exactly. So it's like, I'm wondering how that they're gonna finagle that, if somehow somebody's gonna come out and she's like, oh, that was just a little skit that so and so was put on or something, but
yeah,
it's interesting, because when they switch her back off, she won't even know what she just said. But I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting stuff.
What a wild concept, man. It's an interesting show. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even get to talk about Irving. He made it to Bert's house. He sees that Bert's actually married. He's still gonna knock on the door. That's gonna be an interesting conversation, because, well, it's gonna be switched off, so neither of them are gonna really recognize each other there. But Irving is, it's interesting because he's such a company man inside, at least at the start of the season. But on the outside, we're seeing his documents there. He might be kind of anti-Lumen. So it's this weird dichotomy that he's for it and he's against it. And but I don't know. There's so much to unpack. We could go on for forever with this show. Safe to say, I think we all really enjoy it.
Yeah,
we're excited for
it is
season
very,
2.
very good.
Yeah, definitely check out. I mean, at this point, we spoiled everything for you, but so
even still, I think it's still worth watching.
There's
so much you can't convey via talking. So much nuance. Still worth it.
All right, we went a little long, but I think it's gonna be quick. It's gonna be real quick, but we could squeeze them in. I think we have time for some quick checks.
Quick check.
And we're going from Severance, this weird kind of sci-fi purgatory, to John's quick check of what?
The Good Place.
Okay.
This is one that you guys had done earlier. I went back and watched your finale synopsis, and I agree completely. All right, on to no.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one that I needed something to watch, and it was kind of a little bit of a slow week, and I was like, all right, let me figure out what to watch, and you guys had recommended this, so I went and checked it out, and yeah, I basically do agree with what you guys said. I think it started off really strong in the first season or two, and then it kind of tapered off from there, and the ending was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular, but I really did like the writing of season one and even into season two, and seeing
Yeah.
the iterations and all that. And I also agree that stuff at the end with Chidi kind of getting his memory erased and losing him as a character basically for a whole chunk of season, was it 3 or 4? It was just kind of like, all right, we've kind of seen him figure out what he's, teaching people like 4 or 5, 8 times already. Like, all right, do it again. And
Got a little repetitive, yeah.
yeah, going back to Earth to have them, be saved and go form this study group or whatever, or scientific study, I thought was okay. So yeah, it started off pretty good, and then it kind of went a little bit downhill. But is it worth watching? Probably. Yeah, I would say so. But
And it's not too long. It's 4
No.
seasons, and they're not full. Like it's like 10 or 13 episode seasons.
yeah,
Mhm.
Kyle, did you ever finish it? I can't remember.
No, I just stopped.
Yeah.
I did go back and watch the season finale, I think, but or the series finale, excuse me. But yeah, no, I never finished off. I think I was like just a few episodes short, and I had no desire to. It was just like, okay.
Yeah, and what John was talking about, episode 279, February of 2020.
wow,
Different time. That was the
yeah.
same episode of the Super Bowl with Baby Nut. Remember that?
Oh.
I had to watch the end of our talk about it because it was
Oh,
right
there you
before
go.
this.
That's funny.
Wow.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you. Season 1 and the first half of season 2 really strong, setting
Yep.
everything up, and it goes back to like the mystery. Did they know how they were ending this thing? And when we got to the stuff with Chidi erasing memories, and then this whole thing of, again, we're erasing his memory so often that when they want us to care so much about him and Eleanor in this relationship, I didn't.
He doesn't know.
He
Yeah.
doesn't know it. I don't know it because you skipped all over it, and there were so many resets, and you try to put in a little fake little montage to earn it, but it just it didn't have the same thing as something like with Ben and Leslie, or the other kind of will they won't they throughout other comedies. But
That I
Mhm.
think it's a little hard to have everybody in your cast do not a 180, but to kind of change their personality and their MO, and still kind of have the same show. I mean, obviously the whole idea is that they're learning and they're becoming better people, but that fundamentally changes who they are and their interactions together. And I think that unfortunately is a little bit of an uphill battle for them, as far as writing the episodes goes.
well, The Good Place, 4 seasons. It's out there if you want to watch it. I have something it's interesting. My quick check is something I'm telling you not to watch. I watched this movie March 18th. It came out, called Deep Water. This erotic psychological thriller, that's Wikipedia's words, not mine.
Okay.
That's what they said. Follows a well-to-do husband, played by Ben Affleck, who allows his wife, Ana de Armas, to have affairs in order to avoid a divorce. However, he soon becomes a prime suspect in the disappearance of her lovers. This tried to be Gone Girl. It was not thrilling or really erotic, as they were saying. Because the whole movie, you're waiting the whole movie for a twist that never, ever comes. You get to the ending, the credits begin to roll, and you're like, what was the point? What was the point of this? Like, what was the twist? What was the reason? And I'm keeping it vague. Like, I could go in and spoil specifically, but like, for those people that are going to watch it, you got to have something to, wait for you. I don't want to tell you everything, because it really won't be much. But like, if you know. But there was this whole thing with these like snails that Ben Affleck keeps. What was the point? It was all this like setup. They even had a line saying like, they're poison.
The snails had a line?
No, the snails, that'd be weird. But Ben Affleck talks about the snails, and it's like, oh, you can't eat the snails on if like they haven't been starved because in their intestines they're poisonous to humans. Okay, I'm waiting for somebody to get poisoned by the snails, and no one did. What do we include that for? But,
Fun fact.
but then we get to the end credits, and I see written by the screenplay credit goes to Sam Levinson, and I'm like, from Euphoria. That makes sense now. Why the script wasn't there. But yeah, I will say one of the most wildly weird tonal shifts I've ever seen in the end credits, because it's this thriller psychological thing, and the credits end on the moment, okay, and they start the credits, and there's a scene with their kid in the movie, and we see a little bit of it earlier, but we get the full extended version, almost like it's like a blooper thing from back in the early 2000s with those comedies. And it's like this child singing like this song, like in the car seat, just singing this song, and it's comedic, and it's just so wildly like, what are we doing here? Like, we just had this like dramatic psychological car flip, this and that, people dying, this and that, and then we're cutting to a cute baby. I don't know. I thought it was the strangest choice. But Deepwater on Hulu.
So it's a no.
It's a no for me, dog.
Okay.
But I'm talking about, a weird tonal shift. There's a kid at the end of this thing that I have no idea why is there. I think I got the right show for Kyle. Kyle, old enough? What is this?
So I saw a couple of people on Twitter talking about this. So I was like, all right, let me check this out. This is the photo for it. It's just so ridiculous.
I think it's putting you on a list or something.
No, but basically this show is like a family type show. I would put it in like it's just like a family type show. It's live action, it's not animated or anything, but basically the premise is it's a Japanese show, and these little children have to go out on their first errand. So it's like their parents basically send these really young kids. I mean, we're talking like 2-3-year-old toddlers to do their first errand. And
this doesn't sound dangerous at all.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's so silly because it's like one of those like puppy bowl or kitten bowl things where it's like, oh, we're making a storyline from this, and it's really just a kid being followed by a camera person and like a couple of PAs while these kids go do this task that they've been given by their mom. But they do funny, silly stuff. I watched 2 episodes. They're very short. One was like 6 minutes, the other was 10. And one of them, like, the kid was good. He did everything he needed to do. He got a little bit sidetracked, like some weird stuff gets in the way. And then the other one just had a total meltdown. He was supposed to get some juice, mango juice. About an hour into it, he started playing with toys. He forgot about the juice. And then, he was just a maniac. So you got to watch out for some of these children. They're not old enough to do the task. I'm serious. Like, I mean, I just watched it because it seemed so silly, and I heard about it on Twitter. But if you need like a dumb, silly show to like shut your mind off and just watch something like with cute kids or just kids doing cute, stupid stuff, this might be for you. It's kind of silly. So
okay, all right, it sounds interesting. Old enough,
and they're short.
That's very important.
Well, they're kids, of course they're short.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
The episodes. All right. Well, this episode was not short. We ran a little long this week. We had a lot to squeeze in because next week we're not doing NL points. We're not doing TV. We're going to do movies, specifically summer movies, because it's the return of the summer box office draft. Knock on wood. Hopefully everything worked. No movies are going to be pushed, to another year, another season. But we're going to try to draft some box office movies, stuff like that. It's gonna be always a fun time doing that with you guys. You can find episodes of the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doredundancy.com. We're going to be live Monday nights on Twitch, twitch.tv/doredundancy, 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram, find out what we're talking about and when at Dual Redundancy. I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight, talking about everything we did. John, for directing the show, getting it up on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. Couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
I'm John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.